Trading the foreign exchange market carries high risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Trading on margin, utilizing leverage can carry an even higher level of risk that can lead to a complete loss of investment funds. So before deciding to trade the foreign exchange market or using any of our software alert products, you should carefully and diligently consider your personal investment objectives, level of experience, and risk tolerance. There is a possibility that you could potentially sustain significant loss. You should not invest any capital or trade that you cannot afford to lose. It is your responsibility to be aware of and understand all risks associated with foreign exchange trading and to seek professional advice from an independent certified financial advisor if you have any doubts. Auvoria Prime does not exercise trading authority over your trades. You and you alone exercise discretionary trading authority over every trade.
It looks like the one I see that's the most prevalent here as far as being able to do something with is the Euro Aussie. I'm a little bit leery about that one because it's been very range bound here the last week, actually. It does have a short here. There's enough room to the downside. I don't know that it's going to get that low. That's about as low as it's, that's pretty much the limit to where it's been in the last week. So I don't know if that's a good one or not to take. I'm a little bit leery about it. It's been making lower highs and higher lows, and it's just been, we're somewhat range bound here. So I'm going to pass on this. And let's just go and take a look at some of these other charts that we have and just see if there's, well, let's go, while we're doing that, let's go to the news. Let's get the news here first. And let's see here if I can get, and you should see my FX book. Tell me yes.
No.
Your screen is paused. Nope, you're not seeing it. Okay, hang on. Share.
Yes.
Now you should see it. Okay. There is some news at 7:30, which is right about now, with a dollar, and then at 10 o'clock there you got some Canadian news, all red folders. Everything else for the rest of the day seems to be pretty much cleared out and nothing too exciting. So we're going to be looking at that, and also we're going to be looking at any trades we'll be looking at. We're going to be looking for the strength of the CAD and the Aussie and New Zealand to the strong side, and any British yen and Swiss, and right now even like the US dollar. The US dollar is not real strong, not real weak. It's kind of in the middle of the pack, but we'll be looking at trading to the weakness of the British pound and the Swiss franc. So let's we'll just keep that in mind as we look through the charts. And go back to my, let's see if this goes. And I bet I don't have that. You're not looking, now what are you looking at seeing? Arrow charts or the
Arrow, yeah, arrow charts.
Looking arrow? Okay, oh good. Hey, that was a surprise. Okay. So let's go and we'll just take a look through some of these different charts here and see what we have. We say we're looking at trade to the weakness of the British pound. And so let's take a look at the Canadian dollar was strong. So let's look at the British Canadian. And there's nothing right there. That's this had nice little bounce. There's an arrow. Looks like there's a lot of room to the downside on this one. This one's already pretty much out of the chute, I believe. Let's see what direction we're going in on this one. We have lots of red on top, green on the bottom, so we're in a downtrend. And we had an arrow at 175.75. Let's see if I can find my other arrows here. And 1.7542. Get my blue line up and get a target up. 1.7522, we'll call it. And we'll move this down to the target area. Looks like there's going to be lots of room for a target. Here would be the entry. And we're right at the entry point on this one. We're in a downtrend. Actually, this trade, actually, what? It should be up a little higher here. And we're within, we're 10 pips out of the shoot already, and we have a fractal down here at the bottom. So we'll kind of pass on this one for now. If it comes back up to retest this zone in here, we may have an opportunity to maybe take it short again. It did break through a 200 moving average, which I like that idea. It's still pretty flat, so it could be bouncing around a little bit in the meantime. But I would be looking at a trend break. I'd be using like this fractal right here at the bottom. I'll take it on up to the top. Those of you who were listening to Jackie's session yesterday, she was talking about these fractals. Yeah, so I put them on the charts. We'll just see if it makes any sense to pay close attention to it. I think there may be something to it. And part of the theory what she was looking at was that if you have a fractal in the zone, that's a good, makes a high probability that you maybe will get your 20 pips out if you get, especially if you get an arrow. So we'll just kind of keep an eye on that theory. This is just a theory at this point. We'll keep watching it and just see if it makes, if we can hang our hats on that idea. Let's see, the Swiss was weak as well. And let's see what this one looks like. Lots of green on the bottom, so we have an uptrend. Put my arrows in. And let's see, we have an arrow bounce. Well, we had the bounce. We got the arrow. The arrow kind of came in on the pullback, which is interesting. Get some blue lines there. Our target open. It's gonna be about 129.13. Target 1.2933, roughly. Just trying to get it on the chart here. And 1.2820. I'm just throwing numbers out here just so I can get my lines up and then I'll adjust them. And so here would be a target, right an uptrend target. Here's the arrow. And 22 to 41, that's 19 pips. That's within reason. We did a pullback. It came back. We have a crossover right now. Actually, I kind of like this. This would be a reasonable trade, I think, actually. We have strength, although we did say that we had weakness with the British pound and the Swiss franc were both weak. So that does give a little bit of a pause. You can see we got the arrow, but we haven't really gotten anywhere. It hasn't even gotten out of the chute yet. We do have a little bit of a wedge drawn right here. A little downtrend right here. There's the wedge. And we have, that's the top of the wedge. And if we could break that wedge, if we can get the wedge break, come back and retest, then I would take this trade. But right now, it's still showing too much weakness and too much consolidation to take this trade right now. You have a downtrend coming up that way, and then you have a little bit of an uptrend from here on. Oops, wrong way. That's 22.82 right there. And get the trend line. Trying to adjust it here. Trying to catch it, adjust it so you get as many hits as you can. And here's the anchor, here's a hit, here's the third hit right here. See which way it's going to break out of this. I would expect it could possibly, the British, one of these is going to have to, the pound or the Swiss is going to have to get more strength to each other, or else you're just going to be range bound here right now. Maybe looking at possibly a break to the upside, break this trend line, break it, come back, close above, come back down, retest the line, and then go for a target target's 19 pips. You may want to cut your target. If you do take that trade, you may want to cut your expectations a little bit short. And that's that one. New Zealand was strong. The Aussie was strong. Let's see what the British Aussie looks like. That one's already down to the zone. Nothing there. This looks like it's somewhat range bound. You have 31 pips to the. If we can get a bounce off of this. We have our 200 moving average up. We have our arrow moving average right now sandwiched in between the two. We have a little bit of a downtrend coming in. And if it can come down, if it can break this trend line, again with a close above, come back, retest the line, and then come back up for a target. Be looking for something in this area, in this region right there, and your target would be up around in this area, and that would be you wouldn't even get quite 20 pips out of that, so you pass on this one for right now. British New Zealand, lots of green on the bottom. Arrow over here, still in an uptrend, down arrow. We don't want to take it going contra trend. It is breaking the 200 moving average. This would have been the entry. The target would have been down here. It looks like there would be plenty of room. 48 to, that's about 50 pips, it looks like. 43 pips to the downside. You've had to get it, it's already out of the chute. I would have been hesitant with this, now with this break of this 200 moving average, and there is strength to the New Zealand to the pound, this could be still be a possibility. It's a little bit late in the game. I prefer to wait and see if it gets a little bit of a pullback. We'll see what happens with this. But even like right now, if you were to get in right now, you'd give up a lot of your pips. Still probably have enough room to the downside. Can everybody hear me okay? Just as a mic check for me.
Yeah, you're fine.
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, all right, good. I never quite know if I'm just sitting there talking to myself because my earbuds went dead. They should be fully charged right now.
Yeah, we'd alert you on Telegram.
Okay, and I do have that handy just in case. Okay,
Good.
Or we just sit here and laugh like we did last time.
you can sit there and laugh at me. Yeah.
Depends on
Here's
who
a
you are.
British yen. Let's take a look at the British yen. I think we may have already looked at that. Yeah, British yen alert to the sell side. We have a bounce arrow. Ooh, not a lot of room there. Let's see. Doesn't look like a lot of room. And plus we're in an uptrend. I'm pretty sure it looks like we're in an uptrend. Lots of green on the bottom. Up arrow. And this would be the target. 87 to 79. You only have 9 pips to the downside. I would pass on this one. Looking for this thing to break. I've been primarily looking for this thing to, it's consolidating. Here's a little zone down here. We have a trend. You can just barely see this wick at the bottom here. And if it comes back and bounces off of that, we may have a chance to get a trade on the upside. There's a little wick right there. Here's our 200 moving average. You don't want it's too close to the target to take this trade. And Aussie Swiss, let's take a look at that one. You find out a lot of the alerts that come through. Oh, this one might be good. This one looks lots of room to the upside. Everything's in the right direction. Let's see if this one looks good. More green than red. That's good. I think we have a trade here. Here's the entry. We have 20 pips, 22 pips. I think I can take this trade. We have uptrend above all the moving averages. It's trying to get a crossover. I'm going to take this trade. Buy. Aussie was strong. The Swiss was weak. And we'll put our stop and targets in. And we're looking for 40 pip stop. That's 400 on the modifications scale, 200. And we'll click the red, click the blue, get the numbers in there, click the, and we're in. There's our target. Here's our stop. And our stop should be way down below here. We can probably move this stop up a little bit too. If this thing's gone, turns around and goes in the wrong direction, I'm going to tighten my stop up a little bit to at least right below this wick off this little trend line. It's got to get through this. If it gets through this area, it may come down and retest this. Right now, this looks like is that on 5 minute? Oh yeah, we should be looking. Yeah, let's do that. Thank you, CB. Ooh, let's see. We're right in a big zone on the 5 minute, aren't we? Well, it is. We are breaking out of the money zone, the overnight money zone. So that's a good thing. I'm still okay with this trade. But we do have to be aware of the fact we do have some wicks down along in here. Let me find a shape. Tools. Shapes, here we go. A rectangle. I'm gonna be looking at this little area right in here as a possible potential problem area. And once it gets through that, we should be okay. But I like the fact we had all the strength. As we're looking at this Aussie Swiss, if we look at our the Aussie strong on all 4 time frames, the Swiss is weak on 3 of the 4, and still weak on the 5 minutes. So I like this. I like the spread on this. The Aussies are strongest on the 1 hour, the 30 minute, and on the 15. So I'm good with this trade.
Excuse me, Al.
Uh-huh.
Lexi had mentioned that on the second arrow that you should go for 10 pips rather than 20. I don't know if that's a Nate thing or not.
I don't know if that's. I know with Nate that he oftentimes he will, on the second arrow, he goes to the lower time frame to see what to check out the multi time frame analysis on it. I know he'll do that. I don't know that he. If I know basically as long as there's 20 pips to the next zone, he's good with that. You're pretty much free to take whatever risk or whatever profits you want off of that. It qualifies for a trade to go for the 20 pips, but a person with a second arrow, your chances of getting that 20 pips certainly does become decreased because you've already given up. You already had your first pullback. Here's your W, and then here's your first A, and then comes up the second A. You'll probably come up here again, another pullback, and then goes up, and then this is where you'll probably look for your M formation. But you can see right here, you had the down move, and actually came down, formed a little bit of a W with a lower second leg. But this is the other. Here's where they have that you're actually going to have your fractal low here inside your zone with a higher low. Here's a low, here's a higher low. This is that little angle that he talks about in his video. We have, and that's usually that's the one I like to look at. I like seeing that, because that just means that it came down, the price was rejected. This is almost like your market maker move where they drive the price down, comes back down, bring out the market makers, they come in, they get their positions, and they drive it back up. Here's your first long leg, here's your first pullback. Now we're looking at a second long leg. If you look at the length of this is almost like an Elliott wave type of situation here. We have that move, and then if you can take this over and drive it up, this would be the next target right up in there. So this would be like this would be your wave 1, wave 2, wave 3 is always the longest, wave 4, wave 5, and then you probably get another retracement. Up here is where you'd be starting to get your little M formation to go back down again. So that's one reason I like this one here. This is your first A, come up here, get a second A, then make your target. And we have a little bit, and you can see we have pretty much a flat top wedge. And Matt often talks about the stick. If you have a stick between here's the wedge, here's the top of the wedge. And if it breaks out the top, let me do this here. Again, here's your target. You may want to bring it back down just a little bit here, just to give it a little bit of room so so you can get your fill on the target. I'll keep that. We'll keep an eye on this one. We're already about break even on this one so far. It is still showing some strength. And as I said, I would not be surprised to get a little bit of a bounce off for this area right in here. Oops, I didn't want to do that. Should have modified this to the right target there. Any questions so far? I'm still okay with this trade. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens when it gets up into this region. And we'll keep an eye on this one. Aussie Swiss. Any questions that we have? Kind of quiet today.
Good on my end.
All right. Let's see.
I was talking with being muted. I was pulling an owl.
No, not you too, Eva.
Me too. I mute myself to protect the ears of our listeners when my cat starts his yakking.
I did hear, yeah. Well, your cats and all my grandkids. Let's see here. Let's see what we said the Aussie was. Let's take a look at the Aussie pair since that was one of the strong Aussie yen. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, nothing there. Did have a bounce. We had an alert right here. Let's see how much room we would have had with that. That would be a little tight for a target. How about Aussie US? See what that one looks like. US wasn't exactly the strongest of the pairs. That one's coming up into that one's up into the zone. It would be they said got an arrow right up into the red zone, so we don't like that. Nothing here.
Did you just say US Swiss? Were you looking at the US Swiss?
I did not look at the US Swiss, but we can. Is there anything there?
Actually, one of our attendees, Taza Porn, is asking if we can, when you have a moment, can you give your analysis on the U.S. Swiss?
Okay.
He's in long, and unfortunately, sorry, he or she is in long, and unfortunately, it broke the channel to the downtrend. So just would like
U.S. Swiss broke the channel to the downtrend.
on the 1 hour.
Oh, 1 hour. We have one of those 1 hour people here. Okay, let's take a look.
Swing trader.
Swing trader. I'm not seeing where it broke it to the downs. If you're long, I think
I guess
that's
he was in. This is from before. I don't think it's like a current move. So where it was going up, I guess he got into it and it decided to come down or whatever.
Yeah, right now I'm looking at this as being a long position. Here's your zone. It is in an uptrend.
Oh, there's a W forming as well, it looks like.
They're up. Now here's the uptrend. And let's scale out here a little bit. Yeah, it looks to me like, I mean, your moving averages are up. It's in the upper trend. It did break through the moving average here. That's a good thing. Here's your W. Here's your, I think you're okay with in the long position. I'd rather be long than short on this right now. I'll say that much. Here's your trend line, bottom trend line. There's that lower leg of the W, first leg of the W. Here's the middle of the W. Here's the second one. Came back, couldn't break down, made a higher low. And we've got, yeah, I think you're okay. Let's see what it looks like for the 15-minute here. We'll probably take a little heat right around in this area. I think once it breaks through, once it can break through this level here, this 93.30 area, once it can break through that, it's pretty clear sailing all the way up until, I would say, right there. And by that time, you're going to be pretty close, getting up close to the last zone area. And you're starting to get the crossover of the arrow moving average. It's getting close. I'd like to see this thing cross over and keep on going. Sort of follow this arrow. Yeah, so yeah, I'd say you're okay with the long. I'd just hang in there with it. Let it breathe. Yeah, a little bit of an uptrend there. This is a flat top across the top here. So like I said, I'd like to see it be able to break through. God, these things are so, there we go. I'd like to see it break through the top of this, come back, have a break, close above. If you can get a close above, then you can probably have your stop somewhere below this blue trend line, moving average line. Let's take a look at here's an Aussie CAD. Let's take a look at that one. This trade's working out nicely. Our Aussie Swiss is working out nicely. Aussie CAD. Let's see what that one's doing. That's already up into the zone. Nice big push up. Now the question is, well, can it break through the top of this? That would be the question. The Aussie's still strong. The CAD, I think. Let's take a look at that heat map again. CAD's strong. CAD's in the middle. Aussie's still the leading the pack with strength here. I don't like this one quite as well. And it's got to get through this red zone, and then it has this other zone right up in here. They'd have to deal with here. And that's 17 pips. So basically, you've got to get through one barrier, and then you barely have enough to the next one. So good workout. This one's working out very nicely. We're at almost halfway through our target area, Aussie Swiss, and then here's the British yen. That was, we'd already talked about that one, I think. Let's take a look at our Aussie Swiss and see if it's bouncing off that zone that we were talking about. It's coming up. It is sort of struggling a little bit with that. And I say, if you're going for your 5 pips a day, you've got 9 of it on the board already. And we'll just see if it can break through this. If it does, we could possibly get on up to this next area. Let me see, it's starting to get a little bit of a wick right there. I'm just going to let this one breathe. This is one where I sort of expected that we might get a little bit of a bounce off of this area. We just don't want to go we don't want the bounce to go too close. I'm not going to tighten our stop a little bit. We don't want a profitable trade turn into a losing trade. But you have to let it breathe. And US Tech, let's take a look at that one while we're at it here. And we have the bounce. We didn't get the arrow off the bounce. We got the arrow on the retrace of the bounce. And right now it's, let's see, we are probably in an uptrend, I would imagine.
Yeah, it is in an uptrend.
Yeah. So we're going to have, so we want our target to be up there. We want our entry to be somewhere right around there. Eva, you sound disappointed.
Well, you know what? Right now, it doesn't matter to me. It can go either way. It just has to pick a lane and get in it. That's it.
Yeah, it's not. It's a wild driver here. It's all over the racetrack here.
It's everywhere. It's driving me crazy.
Yeah.
Your nemesis.
Well, actually, it didn't used to be, but right now it's giving me a hard time. So.
Yeah.
But this looks like this could be the a little bit of a W, but I'd like to see it pull back. I would like to have seen it pull back a little bit more here. I'm not real crazy about this as a trade at this point.
Okay.
Now we just got to sell. So we just got to sell on the. So we had a buy followed by a sell. So here's. You think there's a little bit of a battle going on right there? Would you guess?
And this would be my problem.
Proving her point.
Yeah.
I rest my case.
And this is a good reason why I'm not a big fan of trading this, because it gives you the up arrow actually looks pretty good all in all for the distance. We got let's see, 816 to. I mean, there's plenty of room, plenty of dollar move to the upside, but we're not real. If the dollar is weak. Look at how this thing's pulled back already. We're off of that, and we were already up 10 pips. Now we just gave up 7 pips by just waiting for this thing.
And if you look at the two MMAs, they're starting to get closer together, so it's getting ready to make a move one way or the other.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't put right now either.
Yeah, right now they're both kind of flatlined,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just consolidated. It's just basing right in between. It's just basing between this region. Pretty much right between here and here.
Yeah.
And if you could look, you'll have basically it's kind of forming a wedge. Here's a high, here's a low. This is your overnight high, overnight low. And if you look at the trend line from this, trend line. Come on. Here's our trend line there. And then we have another one from the low to the high. This is sort of like the top of the W. I'm still thinking this thing's going to come down. I think this thing's going to come down a little bit lower here. Get a little bit of a higher low. Take this off here so I can see what's over here. Here's a pivot low. Here's a pivot low. Here's a bounce. So this little blue line right now is pretty much where it's been seeking. This one penetrated, and I'd be looking at pretty much right about in this area for the bounce. And then if I got an up arrow, then I'd be willing to. Then I might be more willing to take that trade. But let's let it come back here, retest this area. Strong move down, came back up, coming back down, not quite as low, and then looking for it to take off to the upside, and then this would be your target. So we'll pass on that down arrow, we'll pass on the up arrow, and see if we can get another up arrow with a bounce off of the zone. Now let's take a look at this Aussie Swiss again, since we're in that trade. Aussie Swiss. That's one of the reasons why a lot of times I just like to go for that. You'll see that these currency pairs oftentimes move in 7 pip increments: 7 pips, 14 pips, 21 pips, and let's do a little analysis on this Aussie Swiss. So let me go to my other chart.
If we can just remind people to please put your questions in the Q&A with
you,
time
Christine,
reference.
Yes, thank you for reminding. And let us know what time. And yeah, if you put them in the chat box, we just oftentimes just don't see it. Let's see, Aussie Swiss.
It appears that the yen has gotten quite strong all of a sudden on all time frames.
Yes, it has. There was an announcement at 7:30. That shouldn't have affected the yen. But you're absolutely right. Swiss yen would be a good possibility if there's something happening with that. Let's see. Let's see, Aussie Swiss. Right now, we're still looking with the Aussie Swiss since we're in that trade. Here's the overnight low. Here's the there's a 5 o'clock. This is the London session in here. And I still have. I'm so optimistic with this one here. Nice pullback, strong move out, pull back, strong move up. We're having a little bit of a pullback, and I'd be looking at a target area of this one. And this one up here. And they're about 10 pips apart. But you see, it is respecting this little wick right here. Is respected that. It did respect this one. That's where a lot of times I say I'm just really happy just going and getting the 10 pips and locking in the profits and moving. There's so many trades that do come out during the course of a day. So all you need is one really good one. Excuse me for my allergies. And let's go back to the charts. We may have a little bit of, this is a pretty significant rejection of that zone right there. But you can see with this, you can, if you look and see where from yesterday's high, here's your trend line. had a little bit of a wick up here, rejected. This is what I was talking about with the, so we call it pass and check. You see how this candle right here closed above the trend. We had our trend line. We were just right there. It closed above it, opened, passed it, checked, passed it, closed above, checked it, and then it took off. So there's where that little area right in there, that's what we're looking for when it breaks the trend line, to have it close and then have it keep on going. That's almost like a classic, that's off the higher time frame. But here is your high. And a couple near hits along the way. You see right here is about where the overnight session, and right here is about where the London session opened up. And they would also have, you would have the bodies of the candles here. You'd have a body of the candle at the bottom right here. And then here's the London session, and it broke right at the beginning of the London session. Yeah, let's go back to the charts. IDN. Have we looked at that one yet? Ooh, my goodness.
Yeah,
That was rather abrupt.
it was, but it's stalling.
See, here's the bounce with the arrow. Here's where the target would be down here. I don't know if we have 20 pips. I don't think we do. Six or seven, not enough. And checking get that out of the way. Check the direction. Lots of green, a little bit of red, in an uptrend. Get our arrow.
Actually, Al, when you've got a moment after this, before another alert comes through, can you have a look at the Euro US on the $1 or $1, 1 hour? Money on the brain. On the 1 hour.
Okay.
Lexi's got a bag sell from Nate's session, and it's still being held. So
Okay, let me hang on. Keep that thought. I got to change my stop loss here. I'll make sure.
okay.
I think I moved my stop loss on this.
Whoa,
Oh my goodness, what's
we're getting a
happening
lot
here?
of them today. Okay, you want me to look
Okay.
at the Kiwi Swiss?
Yeah, I want you to look at that, and let's see. I'm just to make sure I get my stop adequately. 71.30 is what I want. Okay. All right. So let's see. Let's take a look at this U.S. Swiss here, U.S. yen right now. U.S. yen.
Oh, you're loved, Al.
Actually,
Time to go to school. All right, U.S. yen, U.S. yen. We got to check that one out here.
the Kiwi
Where'd it go?
Swiss,
Where'd my
right?
U.S. yen go? Where'd my U.S. yen go? It's not here. It's hiding.
Actually, Al, have a look at the Kiwi Swiss.
Okay.
Only because it's right at the zone that you either get here or you don't. Now it's now or never
Okay.
kind of a thing.
All right, let's take a look at that. Kiwi Swiss. Oh, yeah. So are we in an uptrend?
It's equal.
We are
It's
about equal. So we need 50 pips in between the two. Do we have that? Do we have 50 pips? Close enough for me. That's 49. That's close enough. We have an uptrend. Kiwi was stronger, I believe. Outside. Here we go. And let's just double check that real quick before we take this trade. Kiwi is strong, strong, strong. We're looking at trading to the strength of the Kiwi. Kiwi Swiss, yep, I can take that trade. I'm going to buy that one. And we're going to put our stop and target. Let's see where that comes out to. Modify that one, and that one. Here's my target, and we have the strength. It's across all our moving averages. It's in the upside. They're all green candles, and we're good. Good with that. I would probably keep my stop. I wouldn't necessarily need to give it 40 pips. I give this one 20 pips, and I'll still have plenty of room for this one. And if you give it 20 pips, then you can actually take a larger lot size. And we have a New Zealand Swiss. Take a look at that one. That's the one. US Swiss. The US. What happened to my US yen? What happened to
The US yen, I'm looking at it.
Well, I'm trying to figure out where my chart went. My chart's right.
It's actually counter trend, just to let you know. It's counter trend right now.
Okay.
And it's not 20 pips. It's currently at about 17 pips from the next zone. 18 pips, actually. So just so you're aware.
Okay. All right.
Again.
I need to get my, I do not see my, I got the alert, but I don't see my chart. What happened to my chart?
I don't see it either.
Let me try and tile this and see if it pops up that way. There it is. It's hiding. There we go, US yen. I couldn't have gotten the alert without having the chart on there, so that was a little perplexing.
You're on the wrong chart. Al, you're on the wrong chart.
Oh, US Tech. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
US yen. There we go. That's the one. Oh yeah, that's the one that just tanked on us. Yeah, I still won't take this trade. Check the direction. And find out if I just grab the bottom of this black area of the chart where the date and time is, I can slide it. Click and slide. It just pulls up, scrunches the chart to where I don't have to click away with it. But isn't an uptrend. It might give us a chance to get a nice little bounce off of that. So no trade there. Besides this contra trend, and I'm not a big. It's got to be an awfully convincing before I'll take a contra trend trade. You know, we lost a nice little opportunity. Not that this isn't going to pull back and keep on going, but this was. This is where I don't like seeing where I got 10 pips in the bag and now I'm back down to break even again. It's part of my psyche with the way I trade. I just don't like giving that back again and have to too much emotional inventory, as I say. And let's see, what else do we have here? New Zealand Swiss, that's one we just looked at that one. How's that one doing? Let's pull back a little bit. Let's take a look at this one, New Zealand Swiss. Look at this one a little bit closer.
That's the one we took, is it not?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm gonna take a look at it. It's I mean, it's pulling back a little bit, but trying to get a little better feel for it. New Zealand Swiss, trying to put it under the
5 minutes, a little messy.
Is it? Okay. Let's see here. We've got here's our day break. Here's our overnight high. Here's our overnight low. It did break the overnight high. We do have this little area right here that we're looking at as a problem. Let's see. Oh, where's my charts? That's what I'm looking for. This is a wick we have to be aware of. You see this area was tested a few times. It had, just pull this out, you can see where there was a little wick right here. This is the place where it came in, it was rejected, broke through, was rejected. So this is the area where, this is like the magnet that keeps coming to. And we're right back into that area. Now the question is if it can break through the top of this. If it can break through the top, then we have a nice little area right here, would be a target 66.84. And if that doesn't hold, if that, the next target would be at 66.89. So there's the target, and then we have another one up above here. As I come across, I see I run into the body of the candle, come back up. Here's some wicks, wicks, wicks. So all these are wicks right in here. So this would be the next. You see the strong move up. Always look to see where the strong move up. Here's a little fractal top. And so this would be what I would call that would be the supply zone, which is where, this is where the move originated from. And I'm looking at the bottom of the last blue candle. So this will be the ultimate target zone right here. And put this right down at the bottom of that. Still has some good, I'm still pretty comfortable with this trade. If we look at it on a lower time frame, look at it on a 5-minute. Nice little trend going up. We have a nice little trend line. And we actually have an upper channel as well. It would be looking at like this pivot here. This would be the channel. So we could run into a little bit of a problem right around this area. And this could be right around the 66.74 area. Let's see where that looks like on our chart. That's basically 10 pips up. So you may get a little bit of a problem getting through this little area. Once we get through that, here's another little wick right here. You can just barely see this candle. Nice big wick. Here's the big body, and then there's another little wick right aside of it where it came back. It was rejected into this area. And this one right here is the problem. So you may want to cut this one a little bit short too if it gets back up there. And so grab your 5 or 10 pips and move on. This is optimistic up here. This pair. Here's the W. Here's your first leg of W. It made a lower low, but then it made, so right here's that little area. Here's a bigger W right in this area. But you can see it made a lower low, but it couldn't quite take this one out. So that's why this zone is still good from here. So this zone's still holding. And this zone has only been tested once, so that's a good thing.
You're going to be able to have a look at the Euro US. Oh, I've got it.
Euro US, that's one we were talking about earlier.
Yeah,
Thank you for remembering that.
on the 1 hour.
On the 1 hour, okay. Oh, my.
It's in the sell on this.
Yeah, this one.
Session in the morning, right?
What direction are we in on this one, or are we
In a
concerned
cell.
about
He's in a
in the
cell.
cell?
He or she, sorry, I'm not sure.
Okay. Right now I see it's range bound between this area right here, this area right here. I'm looking at this. This is a couple of days ago. This was from what, Monday? This is, yeah, this would be Monday. This is Monday's move, lower high. It's just basically basing in between. Right now it's in the middle of the zone. So right now it's in no man's land, what I would call no man's land. This is
So
the middle.
Lexi got into a cell during Nate's session overnight.
This
And-
overnight? Oh, last night.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So it's Lexi's still holding it. So just wanted to know your take on it because obviously Lexi would be in drawdown right now if they
Yeah.
did it overnight.
And you took it short, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Huh.
Probably that
Well, let's
second arrow from the left. I mean, from the, yeah, the second one. They probably took it at that.
Oh, this one right
Yeah.
here is where you took it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let me get on to a lower time frame. Let me get to the 15-minute on this one. Well, those are really tight together. Let's see where the money zone. Let's see where this money zone breakout was here. Let's see. Put this one up on the 10th. Here's the money zone, and here's the candle high. Here's the breakout to the low side, which would be right about in here. And he took it on a what? So he basically took it on the zone break. Yeah, what was the price you got in on this, Leslie? What was the entry price? About 187, 1.1874-ish. Here's the lowest body. So you probably took it right on this candle here to go short. And this zone probably wasn't there at the time. This may be one that
We'll go to the cell. It was the bag strategy.
oh, we just got another alert here. Euro yen 15-minute.
I'll have a quick.
Yeah, I just think right now I think it's somewhat range bound. It could go either way. Quite frankly, it depends. A lot's going to depend on what the dollar does at the open, I think.
Now it appears there's more than just Lexi who's in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
I
entry.
would. Yeah, looking at this, I'm not. I'd probably just hold my ground on it. And you basically, if you did it on an hour chart, you've got a 100 pip stop, 50 pip target. So 100 pip stop should probably get you probably way up. 100 pips is pretty much going to get you up to your the 200 moving average, which I mean you are in a downward trend. So I just say what's probably going to happen is you're going to take some heat on this one. If it breaks through the top of this red zone, I would be maybe thinking about maybe cutting your losses short a little bit.
Yeah, the entry was 1.18809.
880 1.188.
809.
We'll go there, 0. They're roughly there. Now it's still pretty tight yet. You still have lots of wiggle room. I would probably expect now. I would say if this if you're concerned about, I mean, right now your stop should be way up in here, so you've got plenty of room. And if you're on the 1 hour chart, you got to let these things breathe. I think you're okay, because I think I would expect it. Well, if it does break this, it's going to bounce off of this. This is still on a downward trend. Biggest thing is if this zone's going to hold. And my thinking is, my crystal ball is a little foggy on this one. I don't know what they'll still hold or not. So these trades are starting to work out nicely. Look at this. Euro yen is the. So all I can say is, yeah, just keep an eye on this zone right here, right around the 119.20 area, and make a decision. But you've got lots of wicks over here, so you've got a lot of selling pressure in this area. Now you do have a little bit of a barrier here.
Yeah, she was saying that he put it in tight. He put the stop in tight. I guess probably because of that.
Probably because of this, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go with the euro yen. Let's take a look at the euro yen here and see what this one's doing. Euro yen, euro yen. Euro yen right here. And let's see, we have, what kind of trend are we in? Slide this over. We're in a uptrend, down arrow. That's that, for the most part, that eliminates it right there. $14 pips to the downside. You really want to be more going to the upside on this one. It has crossed the moving averages. And if we look at the heat map, the euro and the yen, see where that's at. Euro's in the middle. The yen is stronger, starting to weaken a little bit from what it was earlier. But you only have a split of 2 here. You do have a 3 pip. I'd still be in favor of trading to the strength of the yen. And that's really what we're doing. Well, actually, we're trading to the strength of the yen. This one, downtrend. Not a big fan of this one.
I'm sorry. What was the question?
So I'm not a big fan of this.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
For a short trade. Yeah, I would pass on this one. It's a little bit too close. I mean, it does look like it's going to be somewhat range bound here. Range between the top and the bottom. We're getting all kinds of alerts today. US Tech, Euro yen, that's still the same thing. Sell 129.19, 29.12. $129.12. Target 128. 22. The target's inside that area there. Plus it's pulling away, so it looks like it's coming up to retest this area. Yeah, I'll just stay away from that one. And these are starting to pull back again here. Let's see, US Tech. We know that we don't like that one, but we'll take a look at it here anyway. Ooh, look at that, big breakout.
Oh my.
That one just broke out and never even looked back on this one. You probably would have had to see a pullback. You may have, let's take a look at this on a on the trading view chart here. US Tech. If I can find it here. There it is. Let's look at it on the 1 minute chart and see if we can see if it had a pullback on that at all. I have a feeling it didn't. Nope, it just took right off and never looked back. That was an announcement probably of some sort. Not much you can do about those other than just be in the right position. Hope you got filled. But that's one of those where it just takes off and you never. That was some sort of announcement or something that happened that caused that to spike like that.
We had that 8:30 news on the U.S. Yeah.
That's what it was. Okay, yeah, there was some news at 8:30, wasn't there? On the
yeah, for the U.S. 10 o'clock for the CAD.
That was it. Yeah. You know, these are up like $60 on this whole thing right now. It's up 10 pips, almost 9 pips. And now it's right back to break even again. Let's see, Aussie Swiss and New Zealand Swiss. New Zealand Swiss. Let's see if that's still behaving. Ooh. Wicked up, came up near our target, but right now we're right back to where we started. This thing has if this thing ends up with a fractal high, then we may want to get out of this trade, just cut our losses a little bit. We had our opportunity right there. Right now, I'd be looking to make sure that it doesn't break this little trend line here. Just looking at the low, looking at this little trend right in this area. As long as it can stay above that, we're good. You have another chance to get up here. If this candle closes with a really strong wick, or maybe even like with a little red candle, then you may just want to pull this trade and say you had a missed opportunity. But that could have just been a reaction to that news announcement too, so. Don't give up on it yet. Any other questions? We have about another 20 minutes here, 15 minutes before.
There's a couple of guys that want you to have a look at the pound Swiss on a 1 hour. It's a bag entry apparently for a swing trade.
We've got a lot of swing traders in this room here. Pound Swiss. at least the ones that are vocal anyway. Pound Swiss 1 hour. Up arrow, there was a zone here, but it's not there anymore. That probably was a 15-minute zone. Let me clean up my chart here a little bit.
So what arrow would they be looking at? The one from yesterday?
That's a good question. Well, I'm not seeing an arrow on this one.
No.
There was a down arrow, probably this one. I'm guessing this down arrow. Are they short or long?
I don't know. They didn't say.
Okay.
Guys, just a reminder, please give us more information. Just simply stating the pair and the time frame isn't enough. We need to know what it is you want us to look at. And in this case, the only arrow I see was from yesterday.
Yeah, that's
Oh, that's
so that would put them in a downtrend.
Yeah. So I'm not sure what they see.
I'm guessing this.
Okay, so Joseph said there's an up arrow on the pound Swiss for him, popped up 2 candles ago. Really?
Oh, really?
See on my NV, maybe I have it there.
Yeah, I'm not seeing on my chart, so I do like the fact it did break over the arrow moving average. It is in an uptrend. We have a little bit of a wedge right in here.
Okay, yeah, I'm seeing it on NB. It's
Oh yeah, okay.
yeah. So it's the second one from the right-hand side had an arrow form on it.
On the, an up arrow.
An up arrow, yeah.
Yeah, see that would still be not. That, did you have a zone? Is your zone still here?
Let me have a look. Oh, yeah, I do, but it's an up arrow, right?
Okay, but that would be a bounce.
It bounced hours ago.
Yeah, bounce like middle of the night,
Yeah,
and you're just now getting the up arrow.
yeah.
I would probably scale down to a lower time frame chart and let's see. It's 1 hour. Let's go to 15 minutes. See what we got on the 15-minute. So I have an up arrow right here on the 15, which may correspond a little bit to what you're looking at around the 129.22 area.
Yeah, probably very close. Do you have one on the 30-minute at all, Al?
That's a good question. Yep, got one right here on the 30-minute. That may correspond with the one he had. That would probably been, it's probably right around the 8 o'clock area. Let's see what time that is. I've been at the open of the 11:30 open. I mean, it's let's see, how much did it already do from there to here? That's 22 pips. And 22 pips, and it's pulled back again. And I just say it's probably this little bit of a rally here. So here's your W. Here's your left. Here's your down move. Middle of the W, comes back, retests. This is probably your first A, so it's probably saw some steam to the upside. This is just the first pullback after the breakout. So if you're long, I'd say you're okay. British Aussie, let's take a look at that one. Let me put myself back on my 15-minute chart on this. Nothing there. And let's see, what else do we have here? Still hanging in here with this trade that we had earlier. Like, so we had an opportunity to get our 10 pips. Still going for the 20. Still have a 20 pip target on it. We'll see if it gets up there.
I'm understanding that there's still a number of people that are having problems with their VPS.
I was just about to comment that mine's been working pretty well today, so I'm not sure.
Mine didn't. Mine goes up, but there's been a couple of people. One of our attendees actually lost money on a trade because of it. I don't know what the answer is. They don't keep us in the loop as to what's going on with the upgrade. The only thing I can suggest to all of you guys that are having issues is please submit tickets so that they know the problem is out there. We don't have a direct line to corporate.
I can also add to that I talked to Nate yesterday a little bit. He's working directly with the CEO and CTO of the VPN company, and I'm actually testing a brand new VPN and Arrow 4.0, and substantially better. So hopefully we'll all have that later this
Oh,
week.
well, that's good to know here that.
That would be
The,
good, because I've got a number of people that I'm hearing from that are so discouraged that they don't want to go on, so to speak. So we
Well,
really need to, they need to,
I think everybody's got to grasp the fact that this company has grown by what, like 500% in the last 60 days. It's just growing pains of a technology company. I've been through it before, but I'm pretty confident within the next couple of weeks we'll have all this ironed out. And Aero 4.0 is amazing, guys. Game changer.
yeah, well,
yeah,
hopefully sooner rather than later, because it's not fair to all the traders out there.
Yeah.
I get the growing pains part, but the at the bottom, at the end of the day, people don't want to lose money because the company's growing. Personally, you know what I mean? So
Sure.
hopefully
here's the other thing that I've found out. I've noticed a lot with people who've had problems with it, with and a lot of it is somewhat self-inflicted. So unless you have done what I'm about to show you, keep in mind that you need to really pay attention to this. Is that in your VPS, you'll see this little Windows update, and you should be updating this every week, because you're gonna if you click on that, hopefully you still see this.
Yeah, we see it.
And I see a lot of people don't have, if you click on that and it's still showing October 26th of last year, that means your VPS is not updated. And that fixes a lot of the problems that we have with people having problems getting things loaded. That fixes a lot of the problems. And I do that every week. So just clear out, just to your desktop of your VPS. This is not your computer desktop. This is the desktop to the VPS. But you see, like right now, this thing's showing February 15th. Now, it doesn't always have everything updated, but right now it says there's one important update available. You hit the install update, and sometimes, I mean, if this thing's saying October of 26th of last year, it's going to take you every bit of 20 minutes to get this thing updated. But that will fix a lot of the problems that people are having with their platforms. Do that, and then also do the reboot. And I'll do this this week, and I'll do this. I don't particularly want to do it in the middle of trading week, and then you have this other reboot. So you update it and then do the reboot. And if you're still having, I think it will probably solve. If you haven't done that, that may fix a lot of the problems that you may be having. Just a bit of advice.
Yeah. There's some people saying they've done that several times. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. I wish we could help you more than that.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, if it's any consolation to any of you, mine froze up during our session, like our current session.
Yeah.
So,
But just make sure. But just make sure if you are in, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Eva, but if you are in open trades, have a platform. You can have your platform outside the VPS with all your trades will be on it, and you can still manage your trades off of outside of the VPS.
yeah,
You won't get the alerts, you won't get the charting, but you can still manage your trades. So there's no real reason to lose money because you can't maneuver with your trades, because like, so all you have to do is open up another, just have your platform of, let's say and this right now I'm looking at this is outside the VPS. I'm not even on the VPS right now. And you can still manage your trades off of this. We can close them out, or you can modify them, or everything else you need to do. And you'll find out that you don't have the lag time or the constraints of the VPS to be able to do that. So you can still manage your trades. You just don't have the charting. That's basically what you're looking at. And so, and that's about all I can say about that part. So what time is we have? About 4 more minutes before we're going to shut this thing down. Any other questions? And let's see, what else do we have? Let's see, take a look at our Aussie Swiss trade. Let's see how that thing's looking. We're right about break even still. Shot up. Right now it's sort of, it's very wicky right now. It did break through this zone right here. It broke through, but couldn't close above it. So all it did was just made a little higher wick. And this is the area where it was rejected. So I'm okay with still hanging into this trade. I still like this trend line right here on this. As long as it can keep bouncing off that trend line, we're good. If it starts to break that trend line, then I might just take a small loss on this one. New Zealand Swiss, same thing. Let's see what happens with that one. New Zealand Swiss, yes.
Somebody's asking if you could look at the Euro Swiss 15-minute. It's saying that the moneymaker strategy might come into play. What are your thoughts?
Euro Swiss. The market maker strategy we're talking about.
Yes.
They're all supposedly money makers.
Oh, is that what I called it? Again, money on the brain.
They're supposed to all be money makers. Let's see here. All right, we're in a uptrend. So we did have a zone right here that's not there anymore. So that's interesting. Move this down here. Still an uptrend, but it did take out one of the uptrend levels. So it's becoming less of an uptrend. And let's see, here's a strong move down, move up. I don't know that I would call that. Let's see here. No, I'm not seeing it. It's not exciting me as far as a market maker strategy. We did have the strong move up, but this is on a 15-minute. Yeah, I got a little. I can see a little bit of your M here. Strong move up. Here's your base. Came back, retested. There's your angle. I can see that. There's your slight angle down. The thing I don't like is just right now inside, all your moving averages are consolidating. I need to see a little bit more of a confirmation of more of a break. Is this in an uptrend? So I'd be more apt to see it break to the upside. Let's see where the Euro Swiss, let's see where that is with the Euro is pretty much in the middle of the pack, middle. Yeah, we have the Swiss and I'm not seeing any real strong commitment to either one. The Euro Swiss are right neck to neck on the 30-minute. A little bit, Swiss is a little stronger on the 15. Swiss is gaining some strength on the lower time frame, but that doesn't mean a whole lot. I'd prefer to look at the 30-minute and 15 or my two main ones. I like confirmation with the higher time frame, the 1 hour. I would not be overly excited about that trade. Besides, I would like to see it. I want to see it. If it pulls down, I could see maybe take it. If it comes down, give us a confirmation of I'd like to see a little bit more of a pullback for a trend line from the bottom here. I like this somewhat an angle, something like this, and having it come back down to retest that and then have a nice strong pullback up. Once it does that, pulls back up, and then it can retest this again. I'd see a little more of I'm right now it's looking to bounce off the arrow moving average. Trying to get my line here. There it goes. That's a little steep. I would almost expect it to maybe break here a little bit, give us a little bit of a head fake, and then come back up again. I don't want to be taking it short. Let's just say that. I don't want to take it short. I would like to see a pullback, form another pivot low, maybe a fractal low. And just for those fractals that we were talking about earlier, just show you where to get those. You go to the insert indicators and come down here where it says Bill Williams. And here's the fractal. Make it any color you want. And what it does, it finds those little pivot areas. It looks like a 3-candle formation, finds out the pivot low. If it's up in the zones, like here's one down here, that's significant. Here's one. But you like to keep it in the same direction of your trend. That's where you're coming up with those. This is not, I would not consider this to be a real strong pullback right in here. I'm looking at this being more of a head fake type of thing, especially as it comes up in this area. Let's see, insert shape, rectangle. I'm looking at these wicks right here. But if it can break through, as this trend keeps coming up, as it breaks through up a little bit higher, it's probably going to come back down right into these wicks. If it can break through that, then it could go lower. But I still would question how much lower it's going to go. I still like a 45-degree angle on this trend line right here, about like this. And that puts us right about in line with where there's basing right here. It broke out, come back down to retest this area, which might be about where this trend line may be. And these trades are starting to behave themselves a little bit better. And I'm just going to go ahead and take some profit off of this. I don't want to see it go and do it another low number on me. And
Yeah.
we'll keep an eye on that one for later on. So with that note, we're going to shut this thing down. And I think Matt's going to be running the other room today at from 9 to 12. Thanks everybody for coming in, and we'll see you tomorrow.